since we did a perfectly cut screams video, and there's plenty of them to go around. The internet is always producing loud noise, whether it be me yelling at you or you yelling at me on Twitter. Oh God. This is so much a perk.
Welcome to r/entitled people, where this crazy woman calls the police on a dog. Seriously, she calls the police on a... that's not a joke. Let's get into the story.
Hello everyone, this is your Daily Dose of Internet. Scientists are testing to see if spiders are scared of spiders, and it turns out they are. In this first test, you can see the spider is curious and wants a closer look at this object. In the second test, a spider checks out this fake spider, gets scared, and runs away.
Bark at your dog.
These two horses kissed each other for the very first time.
What the hell? It's like tormenting your own.
Neutrinos are absorbed, which, if you know neutrinos, is a very, very high percentage. This gain region is thought to be highly abundant with neutrino energy and serves to fuel the shockwave against the infalling matter pressure. Now comes the crux of what I've learned has been over 50 years of research. Why does it explode? We'll approach the solution from two different perspectives. First, we'll look at some models. Huge things that...
I, male 30,
Crunch.
now fiancé, female 28, 3 years ago. She was previously engaged to her late fiancé, but unexpectedly passed away 3 weeks before the wedding. He had a good relationship with her family, and they brought him up from time to time, but not much. Surprisingly, I know nothing about this guy. My fiancée never talks about him, although I always encourage her to remember good, happy moments. She'd go radio silence whenever her family mentioned him. Anyways, we didn't have any issues until my fiancée and I started planning for our wedding. She suggested a specific date, and I had several reasons not to agree. One of them is that my mom is recovering from major surgery, and since she's my remaining family, I want her there with me. But my fiancée kept insisting and refused to compromise. I took a few days to calm down so we could discuss this again. But I was surprised when Justin, my brother-in-law, contacted me saying her sister's been sending out invitations with the date she picked, and almost everyone in her family received one. He then told me that his sister insisted on this specific date because this was the exact date she and her late fiancé were going to get married, but it didn't happen. I was stunned. That was a messed up discovery. What's worse is that her entire family knows and none of them mentioned it. Yep, I never knew about that, even though we had plenty of heart-to-hearts together. I was upset, I confronted her, and she defended herself, saying she didn't think it'd matter if I knew this was the day when she and her late fiancé were getting married. I said it mattered to me, and she shouldn't send out invitations without even telling me. I told her to fix it since it was her family who got the invitations. But she said I was being unreasonable, and that she gets to say as much as I do, that she already went ahead and made reservations on that date. I argued that I was backing out of the wedding planning since she kept insisting on that specific date. I ended up sending everyone who received an invitation an email stating that the wedding was officially postponed. I didn't give the real reason why, but I did apologize. She let everyone know, and everyone except Justin criticized my stance, calling me ridiculous and inconsiderate to postpone for a pathetic reason like that. Some even claimed I was a damn groomzilla for not just going with the flow. It just didn't feel right. I kept thinking about how our wedding anniversary will constantly remind my fiancée about her late fiancé for years to come if I give in and agree on this date. That might have been her way to cope, but it's not fair to you, OP, or even to herself. She needs closure. not let anyone guilt you. I know it's hard because you love your fiancé, but you both need to take a step back and reevaluate. You deserve to be loved for you. You deserve to be happy. Not the idiot. Cancel the wedding. She's simply awful. And don't make it about the fact that it's her wedding date with her ex. Instead, repeat to anyone who asks that she disregarded your wishes to pick a date your mother could attend and sent out the invitations anyway. You don't get to treat someone like that. She doesn't deserve a life partner at this stage. Even if his mother weren't involved, it would be a good enough reason to cancel the wedding, not just postpone. But fixating on the dead ex does not properly communicate how selfish and unreasonable his fiancée is. Never marry someone who sends out wedding invitations without clearing it with you first, especially when you already specifically told her that date was a no. I mean, she was willing to pick a date that clashed with OP's mother's surgery to have some dead ex shadow wedding. She is terrible, and the people in his life should know it. Maybe they'll stop wrongly accusing him if they do.
At T-Mobile for Business, we're using unconventional thinking to create new opportunities for small business growth, like unlimited plans starting at...
My brother passed away 8 years ago, leaving my sister-in-law, Nancy, and their son. Nancy remained very close with our family, in part because she's inherited my brother's share of the family business. So we were happy to hear she found someone new about 8 months ago named Drew. Today they came to my parents for a family get-together and surprised us with an announcement. She's engaged. What puzzled us all was that the date is 1 month from now. Trying to pry some more information about the timeline, I said jokingly, "That's awfully fast. It doesn't even give your lawyers enough time to review your prenup, ha ha." Not verbatim, but the gist, and I fully admit I just blurted the first thing that came to my lawyer's mind, which was not very tactful. Drew took a mortal offence to the implication they're getting a prenup. He said they're serious and committed, and if you know it's right, it's right. And that I'm being bitter seeing my brother being replaced by another man in Nancy's family and letting emotions get the best of me. I was floored, but explained that I wasn't questioning their commitment, but as someone with experience in this area, I believe it's prudent in Nancy's case to have a prenup. First, she is part owner of my dad's business. Next, she owned a house in a high cost of living area and was the beneficiary of my brother's life insurance and pension benefits that added up to over €1 million. It's a substantial asset, and she hasn't even started the estate between him and my nephew. Depending on how they manage their assets, this may also mean that when she rebalances her stock portfolio in the future, he may then lay claim to the money that my brother left for his kid and wife. There's a million different pitfalls and variables to think through. I said they're not in their 20s, starting their lives with a blank page. They are 40-something adults with complicated financial situations and quite a bit of asset. They need to talk to a professional, not me because of the conflict of interest, about debts and financial obligations, and yes, about a fair prenup that protects them both. Drew said I was overstepping and left. Nancy was quiet for a bit and then said perhaps she needs to take some time to think about everything, but thanked me for chiming in, and then she and nephew left as well. The whole conversation lasted like 5 minutes and took me by surprise, so we barely got our thoughts together. My parents didn't even get a chance to say anything. Am I the idiot for voicing my opinion, though? I don't think I was, but perhaps I did overstep. Not the idiot. Your sister-in-law's reaction is telling. She hadn't considered it, and it is a substantial amount of money. His reaction combined with hers makes me wonder if he's being a bit pushy with the relationship and engagement. Your delivery was blunt, yes. Maybe a private conversation with her would have been better, but it needed to be said. Yeah, Drew's immediate explosion is really fishy. Either he's emotionally immature and can't communicate in an effective way to say, OP, your comments are hurtful, or he's nefarious and specifically doesn't want a prenup. Either way, sister-in-law needs to be protected. OP, I frequently suffer from foot-in-mouth syndrome. I vote you are not the idiot. You quickly